What's up, waves, and welcome to Anime Lane, the podcast where we take you down the yellow brick road of anime and have a look at everything it has to offer. I'm your host, Rebel Notorious. As always, I am joined by Shaun.
Hi.
And Melina.
Hello.
And today we're going to be continuing our journey through the Universal Century with Mobile Suit Gundam II, Soldiers of Sorrow. Very long title.
It's the second one.
And then we have the return of a familiar thief, thieving his way into our hearts in 3D CG. It's Lupin III, the first. As you can probably tell, I've started writing little introductions for the films because I just kind of
It's just better.
stumbled my way through them the last time.
It's more professional.
Yeah,
We're professionals.
I totally
Very
just tripped up
professional.
when I was introducing Gundam in the first one, so you know, better write a little thing down.
Smart decisions.
Yeah. Again, I don't know which. Do we want to tackle Gundam first? We done that the first time.
I feel like to
Yeah.
follow a theme, we probably should.
Yeah, I feel like it's always going to be the first one, just because it's slightly heavier than whatever
Yeah.
we've been watching.
It's nice to end on a fun note.
Yeah,
a
exactly.
more light-hearted note.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say
Uh,
when they're fighting Nazis in the Lupin one.
yeah, which was
We
not
will touch on this
a
later.
theme.
Yeah, we'll
I-
touch on that later.
a theme I didn't realize kind of, happened.
Can't wait for the next Lupin.
Oh yeah,
Thing is, I don't know which Lupin we're watching next, so that'll be like,
we'll find out.
we'll find out.
in like I don't know when that happens.
I don't know
Whenever.
when it'll be happening either.
You'll know in the future, but we
Oh.
have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea right now. So who wants to start it off?
I would like to start off by saying that was a lot better than the first
Yes.
one.
Then the first one,
Oh,
yeah.
one-
And I think that's the best
100%.
way to just start off. It was a lot better. Still had some issues,
Mm.
but a lot better than the first one we watched.
Yeah, so I think in the first one I refrained a little bit until you guys had said your piece. And now I'm just going to go straight into it.
Fuck this middle.
Great for the first half.
Yes.
Then the second half really just trips up and is fully just sags until the last kind of 30-ish minutes.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. I still enjoyed the second half as a thing, but
Yeah.
like it did sort of start to slow down a bit more.
Yeah.
I think they really built up the fight that was kind of in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we're used to storytelling where that would be the end. So
Yeah.
you kind of get hyped up to expect the ending, and then it's not. And you kind of go back down to go back up again.
Yeah.
And so that, like, for your attention span, especially mine, I was like, oh god.
Oh, I paused the second half so many times because I was just like, I'm bored. I'm so fucking bored.
I watched it in 2 goes because I made the mistake of starting in the evening. and
I
was
wish I
tired
could have done
already.
that, but I watched
recommend
it.
it.
I watched it the night before we were recording it because I've had no
Oh.
time beforehand.
I watched it like not the night before, but the night before that because I knew I was gonna dedicate like one movie like a night.
Yeah,
So I knew I'd watch Gundam and then Lupin. So I also kind of really couldn't watch it in
Yeah.
2 settings. And even if I did, I feel like the second one would just be worse to sit through after I paused it.
yeah.
So I just sort of had to get through it in one go.
Yeah.
It does kind of like you feel even more. I think that it's a compilation movie once you get into the second half because suddenly you're in like. I feel like the second half leaves like 2 episodes fairly untouched in what they cover.
There were a few scenes where I'm like, yeah, roll credits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was
Feel
about to bring that
naturals,
up
yeah.
because like the one that stuck out to me first was like the scene where like Amuro just sort of clicks his heels and jumps and like freeze.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, standing tall. Just sort of the credits roll.
You know, the funny thing is like Matilda. She obviously dies in this movie very unceremoniously.
I have to be reminded which one she is.
She's like the
redheaded
redhead
captain.
one that like all the boys on
Oh,
White Base.
yeah.
Captain, Lieutenant, I forget her rank.
Yeah.
I think she's lieutenant. I don't really care.
Head girl.
She was cool as fuck.
Yeah,
She was
and
And then she died.
Yes.
the thing is, watching it, I was like, they have not cut out a single scene of hers. That is just
That's
how
it?
much
Wait,
she's
really?
in. Yeah,
No.
because
thought they
she's not
had.
part of the White Base.
No,
She does
yeah.
just fuck off
Oh.
for like 15 episodes.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, because this one covers episode 16 to 30.
That's
So it
more than I
covers more than the
expected,
original
yeah.
one, the first film, which covered 12.
That
Yeah.
sounds about right to me, I'll be honest, when I was watching
Yeah, and like you can definitely tell that it covered like a good chunk in the first half, and then it was like 2 episodes maybe, and then it was like maybe a couple other episodes super condensed down for the final act. And I feel like the spy stuff is only really kept in because that's when Char comes back just out of nowhere.
Yeah, because I think the Rat Comet was too heavily featured in the first one because it was like we're having the final battle of the episode like 7 times.
Yeah.
And then this one I was like, did I miss him? Like, did I just miss it? Because I feel like he should be featured more prominently.
Shaun
No.
only shows up for like what feels like 3 scenes.
Yeah, because once Garma dies in the original series, he does just disappear for a long time. He'll be pretty heavily featured in Encounters in Space because he has like a whole like storyline that'll take place. Because the only thing we really got about him this movie is that it confirms that Sayla is that's her brother. That they're related. I forgot her name was Artasia, like her real name.
Yeah, like I couldn't remember like a real name either after they said it like twice. So I keep calling her Sayla, but I do know that's she has another name or like a real name.
Yeah, because I don't think their full name's mentioned, and it's maybe a spoiler for the next movie, and it's maybe a spoiler for the origin. But they have like a family that they're attached to,
Okay.
and I don't want to bring it up in case it's like a
To be
thing
safe,
that comes up in the third movie. Char's real name is Casval, and her real name is Artasia. I won't mention their second names just in case.
Be safe.
Yeah, but yeah. Like I enjoyed this one a lot more. It did just get a bit boring as it went on, I think.
I think it helps for us that like we knew what we were getting into at this
Yeah.
point, like the vibe and
I think, because I don't think you told us before we watched the first one, or maybe it's not me, that it was multiple episodes. So I just watched them like, well, this is very much creative choices being made in storytelling.
I think I maybe mentioned it, but not like in depth.
like sort of
That
in
could be,
passing because
yeah.
like I can't remember if I mentioned this last episode. I remembered like halfway through the first one that this is a compilation movie.
Yeah.
Like I spent that first hour like this feels weirdly paced for a movie, and then suddenly it hit my mind, wait, this is a comp movie, isn't it? So I'm not sure if you've told like me before.
Possibly.
It
I
could
feel like
also
I've,
be that I just forgot. 100%
Yeah.
possible.
I think I maybe brought up when we were like planning out the episodes, and I was like, okay, so let's watch this. I maybe like briefly mentioned it, but I probably didn't go over it in too much detail because it's probably something in my brain I'd be like, we'll talk about that in the episode.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, it would have definitely maybe prepared you guys more for how that one felt.
Because I
the
think if you watch it going and knowing it's not going to go how I think it should go, like, set up, confrontation, ending. Because it's very much multiple ones.
Yeah.
Kind of, you can sometimes tell, but sometimes you can't really. So there's missing parts as well. I think if you're just prepared for it, it's a lot more enjoyable.
Definitely. Although I still, having seen the original series and knowing what I was getting into, the first film is a struggle to get through because it back ends everything that's like kind of important to the narrative until the very end. When they reveal the Xeon and like I feel like they could have cut Rambaral's section from the first movie and like just had him like watching that as like a hint of him coming in the next movie, and then shifted that so that his whole story was like contained.
Yeah, because he's like sort of the main bad guy for this one.
He's kind of like once Char disappears, he kind of becomes like the main villain that they're up against for like a part of the series. And obviously, it being a series, that's what happens. You kind of go through different antagonists before you reach the final main boss. Which more fights with Char coming up.
Yeah. Look, as long as it's not so many times to the point where I'm like, again?
I think like the upside of like obviously when they fight here and then when they fight encounters in space, it won't be like just him and his Zaku going up against Amuro and the Gundam. It'll be like Char will be in different like mobile suits and stuff like that. So
there'll be variety.
They set up a rivalry, so they need to kind of follow it through.
Yeah.
Understandable, so yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I did notice, because we spoke about obviously Iselina, Garma's girlfriend in the first movie, and I was like, yeah, she'll show up in the next one because her storyline isn't done, and she's just not there.
Yeah, I completely forgot she existed until you mentioned her, like, as I was watching it.
I was watching it, and, like, what was her name? Hamon?
Yeah, that's the
Rambaral's
wife.
Like she dies, and that's like the end of Rambaral's story arc. And I was like,
because he's dead and now
yeah.
she's dead.
And then I'm suddenly just sitting there like, where's Selena? Where's her part?
Where's Icelandia?
Icelandia. Because like she has this full thing where she like gathers some of Garma's troops and like attacks the white base, and she dies. And even though they don't know who she is, like the white base give her like a full funeral and respect and all that stuff, and it's like that would have been a great moment to put in the movie. But at the same time, I also get maybe why it wasn't in this one, because you had the whole thing with Rambaral, you know, his respect for the, you know, the white base, even though they're enemies, his death, Hamon's death, Matilda's death, Ryu's death.
Miharu as well. I don't know if
the spy girl doesn't really count to me.
No,
I suppose it counts for Kai.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think that is an issue I noticed with it being a compilation movie. There's characters that appear that we don't care about. We're like, interesting.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, a change of heart. Okay, yeah, interesting. And she's gone.
Yeah, like, I was interested in that storyline, but, like, it was very, like, blasted through because, like, Kai meets her. We learn she's a spy and that she's got, like, 2 little siblings. You okay?
Yep.
2 little siblings to take care of. Then she sneaks onto the base. Then she's immediately caught by, like, Kai.
Yes.
And then she immediately has a change of heart.
Yeah.
And, like, feels regretful for being a spy. Then she helps in the fight. Then she dies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that happens in the span of, like, 20 minutes.
Yep, pretty
Or
much.
half an hour. And I was like, wow, that was a nice side story. Didn't
Yeah.
need to be here, though.
No, it was like, you can look at it, a change of heart in these situations is always a nice storyline, but I wish it was better developed. But I understand from a timing perspective,
Yeah.
you couldn't delve more into it, because then that would have dragged on
I
even
feel
more.
like that storyline maybe would have had a bit more weight if we knew more about Kai, because
Also,
Yeah.
you know, in the original series, you've seen him be an absolute whiny little bitch.
Which you sort of get from, like, the first movie and the bits of
Yeah.
this one, but, like, we've only really focused on him now.
Now, yeah, it's the same with Ryu. Like, his death is like a massive turning point for the series, and we only kind of started seeing him in like a handful of scenes in the lead up
Yeah.
to his death.
Yeah, I remember seeing him. Oh, I liked him. He was great. And I was like, well,
Oh, he's gone.
well, you know, good death. But
I was honestly expecting, like, oh no, he actually survived or
Same.
something. And then we just have this whole funeral, like, oh, he's
shit.
dead.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
like, you know, a big moment for the original series is like when, you know, Amuro, Frau, and Hayato and all that, they kind of realize the situation they're in, and you know, this is a real war. People are gonna die, and you know, it feels like it's resolved something, and then Amuro is fully just still being a little bitch.
Yeah. he goes to defect, like, right after, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Or is that before?
That's before.
That's before, yeah, because he comes back and then Ryu, like, sacrifices
Yeah,
himself.
he has like a whole existential crisis.
Oh, that... I couldn't help but laugh. Like, there's a whole
Oh,
battle
yeah.
going on in
Yeah.
this canyon with the white base, and he's just like, what am I fighting for? Why are we doing this? And I'm like, motherfucker, there's a battle going on. Can this
Yeah.
wait?
Like, I like it as a scene because, you know, it's important to mention. In war, we're still human. And,
Yeah.
You know, we still question our decisions. But it was kind of like, you've been shown to kind of care.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah, I know you're a child, and I don't want you to be here, but
Yeah, it's...
get your ass over there.
It's not, like, really to the same extent at all, but it sort of reminded me of, like, in Metroid, Other M, which takes place after a few Metroid games, where Samus has fought Ridley. She meets Ridley again in Other M, and she goes into a full PTSD. Oh my god, it's Ridley, he killed my parents. And I'm like, Samus, you've killed this fucker 3 times already. Why are you going through this now?
Yeah, it's a weird one because it's not the only scene we're gonna see of Amuro like that.
I
I
mean,
think
I'm okay with that as long as
yeah.
it's just not in the middle of, like, an action scene.
But like this one,
where like he's literally just off to the side and could be shot at any
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah,
If it's
that's
in
true.
like where he's in like a quiet place where like he's like hiding or something. Or something similar. You
Yeah,
know?
no.
Fuck.
No.
Okay, then yeah, this is gonna be dumb.
Contextually, the other ones will make sense.
Good.
Because they have
Okay.
a purpose. This one kind of only exists so that Ryu can die.
Okay.
Because, you know, if Amuro wasn't being a whiny little bitch,
Yeah.
he would have been able to take down Hamon's beetle thing. I don't know what it's called.
It really is a beetle
It
thing.
is a
though.
beetle thing. Yeah.
There's so many names
The
thrown
giant
out.
forklift.
They just throw a lot of terms at you, and I'm like, no, that's the beetle thing. And I'm not gonna.
I ain't remembering that
No.
name.
This movie in particular just kind of throws so many different mobile suits from the Xeon faction
Yeah.
out there, and I'm like,
Oh.
oh yeah, they have a lot, and the Federation just has the Gundam, and I'm like, how have they survived like 9 months of this war?
My brain just stopped counting them after a while.
They
were
hide
just
in the jungle.
they're so stealthy, those giant fucking suits.
I was surprised to see the Black Tri-Shooters turn up. They're the ones that done like the weird 3-on-1 attack on Amuro when they were...
Ah, yeah.
Where were they attacking? It was called Operation Odessa, and I don't really remember what purpose it serves in the movie, because they just kind of are like, we're here,
Might as
we're
well.
doing a thing. Were they in South Africa?
America,
South-
that would have been South America.
No, because that's
America.
Jabaro.
Oh
That's
yeah, because they're
later
going to
on.
South
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain's suddenly shutting down.
Because apparently, like,
No,
you know...
Sandy Thomas.
Because like there's a whole thing of like, you know, because the white base is doing this, the Federation seizes the opportunity to assault this base, and I'm like, okay, sure. And then suddenly the white base is just there taking part in the operation, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Also, I can't help but see the white base as like Lapras, the Pokemon, like
Oh,
the shape of it. I keep
I
looking
kind
at
of get
it,
what you
it's
mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of makes sense actually. I've
And-
never noticed that before.
Another thing, I mean, I know this probably came up like the first movie, and I've just forgotten, but like, White Base and Trojan Horse, they're the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Xeon don't know what it's called,
Okay.
and so they call it the Trojan Horse.
I did remember it was like that halfway through, but they kept throwing
yeah.
it around interchangeably, and I got really confused for a bit. Like, what's the Trojan Horse and what's the White Base?
It's-
They
Yeah.
sound like they're different things.
It'll
but they're
always be
law.
the Federation calling it the White Base, and it'll
Okay.
always be the
Yeah.
Xeon
I figured that out like
calling it Trojan.
after a
Yeah.
while, but for like the first half an hour, I was like, which one is which?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to be focusing on?
What I don't understand though is why they call it the Trojan Horse, because you know they have mobile suit carriers, so it's not like it's the first of its type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when I heard Trojan Horse, I suppose it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like if you're gonna go like make a name for your enemy, I'd make it a stupid ass one.
Yeah, exactly. This is
Like
too
they
much
call
respect.
the Gundam the white one, and they're
I
just
mean,
like
that's-
Trojan Horse.
It's not even that white.
It's not even that white. No, like if I'm looking at the Gundam for the first time, blue is
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
thing I see. Like
Yeah,
that's
or
the
just
main.
call
The
them,
central
like-
part is all blue.
Yeah.
Or just call them by all the colors, like, oh, that's the red, white, and blue.
That's maybe a bit long.
Yeah.
And a bit too American.
Yeah. There's also a touch of yellow in there.
There
Oh,
is.
yeah.
The red, white, blue, and yellow.
The red,
They
white, blue,
just
and yellow.
look at the bit of yellow, like, that's Piss Boy right there.
It's the rugby one. Why is it the rugby one? It's red, green, blue, and yellow. It's maybe a bit too
Mobile
smart.
Suit Rugby.
Mobile Suit Rugby.
I'm sure that's
The
a
next
sports
movie.
anime.
I'm surprised there's not like some sort of like stupid spin-off.
It's like a Top Gun-esque.
Yeah.
Like they're just all shirtless for some reason.
I mean, they've done one where like they're like the super deformed and they're sentient. So you know, I wouldn't be surprised.
Why not?
Yeah. The weird thing is watch about this movie is that this movie takes place like, so we have the confrontation with Rambarel, and then we have Operation Odessa, and that is literally the starting point of the new Gundam game that just came out.
Oh,
Because
that's the one you're playing.
that's the one I've been playing, yeah, SD Gundam Battle Alliance. And like, so when you start, you're like a small unit taking part in Operation Odessa, and then the timeline gets fucked up, and you're transported to the confrontation with Rambarel, but Amuro's not there, so you have to fight Rambarel. But then he gets swapped out with one of the Gundams from a different timeline. video games. I just wanted to mention that it was weird that I was playing that and then sat down to watch this and was like, I've just experienced this so many times because I had to grind a little bit to level up my mobile suit and stuff, and I was like, fuck, I've seen this scene so many times.
Barry, stop fucking up the timeline.
Is there anything else we want to bring up?
I noticed some. This is like a sort of small thing.
You mentioned animation errors,
yeah,
and I was watching it, and I'm like, there's considerably less than the first movie. I think there's less noticeable ones, like where the Gundam just suddenly.
Maybe it's because I actually cared a lot more this time that I started noticing them. But like the big one that I noticed was like occasionally like backgrounds will repeat and like not in like a seamless sort of way where you won't notice unless you're really looking, like actual chunks of rock just suddenly snap back into place while they're like running, and I couldn't help but notice it.
I don't know how I didn't pick up on that.
Melina didn't either because we were talking about this earlier.
I watched it on a shitty laptop, so
I watched it on a big 43-inch TV. I really don't know how I didn't notice it.
I don't know how I noticed it then. Like I couldn't help but notice it.
It could just be you're hyper-fixated on it, and you're like, not that you're looking for it, but when you're suddenly looking at a certain corner, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah,
that was probably it. Yeah, like my eyes just sort of glazed on like one corner, and I just spotted it, and I couldn't stop after that.
Because I thought you were gonna bring up the background that they introduce in this one, where like when Amro's fighting, and it's kind of like a hint that he's using like his new type abilities during the fight. So like when he's taking on the three guys, and he's like jumping over them and all of that sort of stuff, and the background turns to like a kind of psychedelic-esque pattern and stuff. I thought you were maybe gonna bring up like something like that because you mentioned something flashing, and I'm like, I could see how that could be.
Yeah.
Compared to the last one, because I think we all agree the last one was too flashy, and we all got nauseous.
Yeah.
My eyes didn't strain this time, thank God.
Yeah.
Because it's especially like near the ending with the last one, so I think we were all just kind of sitting like, oh my God, I'm so done. And that doesn't happen this time, which makes it a more, enjoyable experience.
Yeah. The next one's going to have some like proper psychedelic scenes, but not like flashing, but more like pretty colours.
There was one sort of like scene like that though. It's when Sayla and Char meet again in this one. Like they sort of spot each other. Char says like something. Is it Char or Shar? Sorry. Char. Okay. I was saying Char. I didn't mean to. But like he says something, and then suddenly everything goes all like pink and blue and stuff, and I couldn't help but think, I've now made everything psychedelic by seeing you.
That happens more in the TV series. Like, it's something that doesn't come up too much in the movies, though, interestingly. There's, like, quite a few scenes like that, especially where, like, Amro's piloting the Gundam and he'll, like, kill someone. He's like, oh, fuck, I've killed someone.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this movie had a better touch on, like, children in war.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was mentioned a bit weirdly, like, when... the enemy were in the white base, and they were like the three annoying ass little kids.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, there's kids here. Anyway,
those fucking Rugrats, like they were a little annoyance in the first one, but I hated them by the end of this movie. And like the last 20 minutes is dedicated to them saving the day.
I was talking to my boyfriend about it. He was like, oh, how did you enjoy the second one? Because he didn't watch it with me. And I was like, so at the end, these children go into this place, they're like, there's bombs. So what they decide to do, because they're children, is take the bombs, get in the car,
drive
and drive away. And which are like, it's a very heroic thing to do. But you're like 4 years old.
Yeah, I was like, I am watching a Rugrats episode. A very heavy Rugrats episode, but a Rugrats episode nonetheless. And the final scene of this movie, like, is it before or after, like, that little conference that, like, Mariu and Bright are in?
Oh, Mirai and Bright.
Mirai. Are like, and I can't remember if it's before or after, but the big fuck yeah end moment of this film is the kids get to stay.
Yeah, that was...
Oh yeah, because the kids get to stay, the white base leaves and the credits roll.
Yeah, which I want to say, like, oh, we are supposed to connect it to these kids and we're supposed to be happy that they get to go on this warship, but like, the rational part of me is like, I don't care if the kids want to stay.
Yeah,
get them off the warship.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they fucking think. Get them to somewhere else.
Children.
Yeah, they're actual infants.
Yeah.
Second note, by the way, get someone else to look after them other than Frau, because she's clearly way too stressed about them.
I love knowing where that storyline goes.
They're all fucking dying.
No. I'll tell you now, they don't die because I feel like that would just be like a hair too far.
Yeah.
I know it'd be a hair too far, but like, I wouldn't mind.
They fall into the ocean and we don't know what happens.
Look, there's a convenient like well that fits them all just right down there. If we could just throw them in,
Yeah. If
no one would care.
If you hate them now,
Oh god.
just wait till we get to Zeta.
I'm going to strangle them.
You're gonna strangle one of them.
I want them to be on part of the abuse counter that I've also made for this movie.
One
Not
of them,
as much as the first one, but it's there.
One of them in particular is an absolute fucking pain in the arse.
Is
And
it?
Zeta.
Is it like the girl one?
No, it's not the girl one.
Oh,
Okay.
That's Shaun. I would have expected it to be her. I don't know why.
Nah, it's one of the other ones.
She seems to be the one with like who's like the loudest in these
Yeah.
movies.
I feel like I don't know if she's. I know they're all three are like Shaun and Zeta, but only really one of them's like heavily featured as like a main character type thing, which is interesting because you mentioned like they kind of look 4, 5-ish, but this Zeta takes place
If
in
they're over 5 years old, that's fucking incorrect.
Yeah, it's just wrong.
because Zeta takes place in 0087, so that's 8 years after this one because this is 0079 as it mentions at the beginning of the movie.
So how old are they supposed to be?
Well, Katz, which is one of the guys, is like 15 in it.
But
Fuck off.
I thought Amaru was 15.
Amuro's 15 now, yeah, but you know, like
Time.
Time, but he hasn't fucking aged.
I'm talking about Zeta,
Zeta?
as in the next series.
Oh, the next one. Oh, thank God. I was like, what do you mean he's aged over these past
No.
2 months?
Oh no.
No.
Thank God.
So this is so the whole movie trilogy takes place in 0079, ending on New Year of 0080.
Okay,
So that means
makes
the
sense.
kids are like 8.
The kids are like 8 at the
That's
moment.
wrong.
That
No.
feels wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
They just kind of like made character designs and then squished them down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like the chibi sort of super deformed.
I'm just
Yeah.
glad they
characters.
cut most of the scenes where they're running around naked.
Yeah, because that happened like in one.
There's
scene
like
as well.
one,
It was very
yeah,
uncomfortable.
And
but
there was
there's more than one in the original series of like
Oh.
them and Frau showering, and Amuro just like
Watch it.
walks
Yeah,
in.
because the one scene that happens here, I was like, did we need this scene?
Yeah,
Like,
and it was Mirai actually in the shower, like
Oh,
who
was
is Bright's. Actually,
nanny?
it's
Yeah.
weird. The movie doesn't. The movie tries to hint at this,
Yeah.
but I feel like it just absolutely fails. But like at this point, Bright and Mirai, who's like the pilot of the ship, Bright's the captain,
Oh, yeah.
are like kind of starting to
Are they
get into a relationship.
Are they fucking?
Yeah,
God, okay, I did not get that at all.
it's like sort of hinted at, and I'm like, this is very poorly done.
Yeah, because like, I mean, they're in some scenes together because obviously he's the
Yeah.
captain, she's the pilot, but they don't really interact with each other.
But to be
that
fair,
much.
you know, why would the pilot of the ship be in the conference where the captain is?
It's a good point. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's like just for like a post. What's the word when like they're like promoting like the dead like soldiers like 3
Oh, yeah,
times,
yeah.
but I thought it might have been something like that. So she's been promoted to like that. But
Nah.
she's still the pilot.
Yep.
Okay, then. Good point.
Yep. So yeah, at this point they're meant to be like heavily into each other and you know romanticizing as
They fucking.
they fucking. And this movie just does a very piss poor job of showing that. Yeah.
Because the scene where the kids are naked, she's naked as well, isn't she?
She's in the shower, yeah.
Yeah, which is... It just caught me off guard because I was like, didn't think this was the type of movie for this.
Oh, and it was cut from the first movie, but like in the early part of the show, you full on see Frau naked.
Oh,
Really?
for
Yeah.
fuck's
And
sake.
she's a child.
She's a
isn't she?
child.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
God.
She's like the same age as Amuro, isn't she?
Yup.
So she's like 15.
Yeah.
Thank God it's cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just caught me off guard when watching because it was an uncomfortable kind of scene. It just felt like we didn't need this.
Yeah, like that
Yeah.
scene doesn't actually serve
No.
any purpose whatsoever.
I think it's just there to kind of swing you out of whatever mood you're in to be like, we're now changing the pace, so we're just gonna make you uncomfortable for a few seconds so we can kind of restart.
It's like laugh Laugh!
I don't want to.
Don't make me, please.
There's more going on. I can't laugh. Laugh.
But yeah, I think the way they show war on children, it's done well in some cases. Like to a point where I was like, oh, credits them. This is really good. But just the guy walking in, there's children on this ship. Anyway, so
Here's the thing, though. They knew before that because, like, there was when
surely they know.
It was when, like, there was a mobile suit kind of running alongside the ship, and he looks and he's like, there's children here. And then someone puts a bomb on the window and is like, why is there a kid here? Kid, move. I'm going to blow the window in.
Yeah.
Can you move? I'm trying to blow you up.
Like, I did like, because those are like the Xeon soldiers.
Yeah.
I mentioned this as well. I was like, I like how the Xeon soldiers are all like, what the fuck? These are children. That's fucked up.
And then don't proceed to back off from
policy. Like, they're like, we don't allow children on our ships for obvious reasons, and here they are, the good guys.
But then Rambaral sees them and he's like, fuck it, there's kids everywhere anyway.
Yeah. And then later in the movie, you've got like the bomb like setters who are like, tie up the kids and just blow them up at the base. And I was like, oh, okay, that sort of undoes that policy there.
They could legit tell the kids, yeah, we're with the Federation, just follow us. Okay. They could have done that.
No time. Bomb the child.
It's like, I'll just tie them up. I'm like, why?
No time sets the bomb to half an hour.
Like, yeah, couldn't they? That's the thing that always bothers me in movies. Like, you don't have to have a very long time, or just enough for you to get out.
Yeah.
They were out.
Yeah.
10 minutes, my guys. I'm sure you can make it out in that time.
Like, I know, be safe and everything in case of traffic or some
but
shit, but
this is a war.
that's excessive. Yeah.
You need to strike fast.
If the Xeon do anything, it's not striking fast.
No.
Absolutely.
I think that's the end of. I think
Yeah.
we've said all we can say.
Yeah, the biggest note is just better than the first
Better
one.
than the first one, yeah.
Definitely. Still some issues, but I definitely enjoy this. I'm
Understandable.
actually looking forward to the third one.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all ends again because I haven't seen this since 2015, I think. So yeah, I'm interested to see how I think about it now.
Yeah.
And yeah, getting to see Char's backstory, I think that will be interesting because Char's kind of just been here.
I'd like to know more on his character because he's like a popular character.
Yeah.
Isn't
He is very popular, yeah.
So yeah, I want to see why.
Yeah.
At some point, I was like, we haven't seen him. Is this him? Is this him? Is this him?
Sailor sees
No,
any,
they make sure you know who he is.
Sailor sees any blonde person in a vicinity. Brother.
That's another thing though about like this is like Sailor wants confirmation that Char is her brother. Speaks to one person who just gives her the vaguest like rumor.
He just showed up one day and he's blonde. That's my brother.
Yeah,
all
she's
right.
just like,
Surely
it
must
is my brother, and I'm like, huh? What?
Feel like we need more validation.
I would love it though if like then they met and he's just like, who the fuck are you? He's like, I'm not your fucking brother.
Brother?
Brother.
Brother? I'm an only child.
Who the fuck are you?
Other blonde people exist, you know. Just blasts her.
So from space Nazis to normal Nazis.
To, yeah.
What a beautiful segue.
How to segue into
This is how we
Lupin the
plan.
Third. Lupin.
Yeah, so some context for the first. I think I mentioned it when I was introducing it, but it's obviously, CG,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
not common for
No.
anime. So yeah, it was a big thing for the series. I think it was celebrating an anniversary. It was like part of that.
I feel like I saw something about that in like the credits or something.
Yeah, well, what you've seen in the credits was a quote from
Monkey
Monkey Punch because he passed away
I thought
just a
so.
couple of months before this
Yeah.
movie came out, and it was one of his biggest hopes for Lupin to see him make the transition into 3D CG. So luckily he did get to see some of the movie. I don't know if he ever got to see the fully finished one, but he did say this here. I got a quote. I've been looking forward to a 3D CG Lupin III for a long time. I've taken a look at the characters and story. It looks like this Lupin will come packed with new sensations, and I'm getting excited just thinking about how the film will turn out.
That's nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
so
nice.
a bit of a depressing note to open on for the film, but yeah, just wanted to bring it up.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't. I feel like if we didn't mention it, it'd be like a big mistake.
Yeah.
Because it's like the first thing that like comes up after when the credits start. to
Yeah,
roll, so.
you get like a note from Monkey Punch saying, that he hopes to keep sending Lupin
all
over the
which
world.
was just beautiful to see. Really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah. I loved this movie.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I loved this movie, even with its stupid moments.
Yeah, I mean that's what you want from Lupin, though, isn't it? Is you
like,
want
I'm
it to be
here
a
for the
bit stupid.
stupidity.
Yeah. I just want to say I love the choice they made, and like, Lupin he has these colors clothes, and they're like full leather.
Yeah.
Full leather.
Full
Yeah,
leather.
watching the anime, I never look at his jacket
I
and
was
think,
never like, that's leather.
yeah,
No, I always figured it was like a suit jacket.
that's what I thought as
Same.
well.
And then he just showed up. I'm like, that's a choice. It's a perfect choice. Like, love it.
There is an odd amount of characters wearing leather
Yeah.
in this movie,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
It's just, I love the idea because leather clothes are the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Because you struggle to get it.
Yeah.
They don't stretch for shit. But
And
just
this is
gonna
also-
rip it at any moment.
yeah.
And this is also the 50s.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask because it's like, I'm unsure when it takes place. My mind was like 70s fashion wise.
it
It was
opens-
70s.
It opens in World War II, but then
And
Yeah.
then says like a decade.
it says over a decade.
Over a
later, but
decade.
which
Yeah.
I did know. That's surprisingly vague.
It's extremely
Yes.
vague.
Like that could be any time.
But the thing is, it opens this like during World War II, and it's like,
What?
when?
It was a while, okay? There's
Yeah.
quite a few years this could have fucking
That's
happened.
like 6 years we got to take into account here.
It's like there's very different parts of the war, so
Yeah.
depending on when this is taking place.
From the way I looked at it, I assumed it was like the beginnings of the occupation of like France,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which would be like 1940, 41.
Early,
If I know my
yeah.
history,
Yeah.
which I'm not a historian or an expert.
Yeah.
But
We don't know jack shit in here.
And then it's suddenly just like over a decade later. So I am assuming like late 50s.
yeah,
Yeah.
late 50s.
Because Hitler was old. Like, they made him look old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like,
So I was like, that's why I was like, 70?
But then there's also like a Chinook, and I'm like, I don't think they had him in the 50s.
I feel like the implication is probably like it's just a mishmash of
Yeah.
like post World War II,
Yeah.
which makes sense for Lupin
Yeah.
because fuck the laws of physics.
Yeah. He's like he's lived for a long fucking time if you're going by the anime timeline.
Oh, yeah.
Because like each like part seems to just continue on from the other one, and it's like
He very much has like an Ash Ketchum sort of syndrome.
Yeah.
I was
Like,
about to
he's
mention,
just
it's kind of like that.
eternally like in his 20s.
yeah, because like part 1 I think takes place in the 50s maybe, but then like by the time of part 6 they're in the modern day, and you have Jigen like properly questioning, am I too old? And I'm like, huh.
I feel like you probably are, my man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that like it could have gone horrifically wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And moving into 3D, but I think they pulled it off really well.
I remember when like it started, like the first couple like moments of the film, I was like, oh, am I gonna have to get used to this?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
got used to it surprisingly fast.
I
It
think-
works very well.
Yeah. I think the only thing I had trouble getting used to was the dubbing, just because obviously
It
you know,
was slightly...
yeah, the lips
Oh,
are obviously
yeah.
more, the mouth movement is more expressive because it's 3D rather than just opening and closing all the
Yeah.
time.
But they're also very much matched with Japanese voices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they you can't reanimate something like
Yeah,
that.
which I understood completely, but it's
getting...
you still have it's still a bit
It
distracting.
still takes
Yeah.
a while to get used to, yeah. But everyone's on their A game in
Yeah.
this one, I think,
Oh, yeah.
voice wise.
This has like nothing to do with like Lupin, but like for like the dubbing thing, it helps that not too long ago I watched like the Man with No Name trilogy, which was all recorded originally in Italian.
Yeah.
So I've watched movies before where like there's obvious dubbing, so I can get used to it.
Well, I think Man with No Name has Clint Eastwood, Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah.
For a few dollars more,
More.
and The Good, Mad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
I think all the actors just spoke their native language in that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it looks like Clint Eastwood is like dubbed, but like
I mean, he's dubbed by himself.
I know, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels weird still.
Yeah, it does still feel a bit odd. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought.
I
there.
don't want to go into that because that's
Yeah.
a whole like other.
That's a whole
episode
other
of-
thing. Maybe we'll watch the Man with No Name trilogy at some point. I
If we
don't know.
do, can we skip like a few dollars more because that one's just a slog.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Lupin.
Fujiko.
Fujiko.
Fuck
she's
yeah,
useful
she's-
again.
Oh,
I
The
was so happy.
redemption.
it was so nice to see her again.
I also
it took
love
me a
that-
while to be like, Fujiko? Because it takes
Her
a while
design,
to mention
very
the
different.
name.
Yeah.
And I always wait to see, like, could someone just say, like, hey, Fujiko, nice to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know for sure, because we talked about it, her hair color has changed.
I was gonna say
Her hair color changes a lot, but for me,
Yeah.
it's the hairstyle that threw me off in this one.
Yeah, because she's usually got like big, long sort of like hair, whereas this
Yeah.
one it's shorter.
Yeah,
It's
and she's
cut.
also got a bit of like a. It's not up at the front; it's like down, and then there's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
an up part, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
It's just the way she was dressed, where it was like, I think that's her.
Yeah.
A hairstyle.
As soon as you
called
see
Fujiko.
legs and dress, and you're like, Fujiko.
Yeah, that's it.
Because it makes sure that that's
Yeah.
how she's introduced.
Yeah, but they make sure no one else looks like that, and
Yeah.
that's something I love about her, because they don't make her sexualized in a way, which is
Not in this one, no.
no. I thought they handled it really well, because women can be dressed with less clothing and not be sexualized, and she's just fucking badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
And-
cool.
Yeah.
Because in this one, it feels like there's like a distinct intention of like when they're in the plane and like she's escaping, she's in a dress and she like takes her dress off. We don't see anything in this one, and I'm like,
No.
oh, thank
Thank
God.
you.
Like it's very much like a sudden cut.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's good. They've put taste.
Yeah.
I think that's a tasteful way to do
Yeah.
it. Like we all know,
Yeah.
we all know.
But we
But
don't
it's-
need to see it.
no.
Yeah.
It's not important.
We see
No.
Lupin's reaction, and that's enough.
That's what we
more-
want to see because that's
honestly,
funny.
More interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, in this animation, I feel like it would feel wrong.
Yeah, I feel like that's maybe also another reason
Yeah.
why they've done it. I was like,
Yeah,
I
like-
don't want to see that.
We're hitting like something else that I don't want to like
Yeah.
be reminded of.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
But she was great.
Yeah.
I think my second favorite character in this, because the detective. Fuck.
Oh,
yeah,
nailed it.
Zenigata.
Zenigata was
Oh.
like the best character in this
Every
movie.
time he shows up, it is gold.
I just
Lupin!
love for this like style that we're gonna make sure he fully stands still for a second,
Yeah.
takes a breath, and screams his fucking lungs out before he does anything.
Inhale.
And I just love how he always has like an army
Yeah.
of just faceless guys with him.
He has his own like mooks and
Yeah.
that just follow him around, and I love it.
Yeah,
'Cause
just
this-
thinking of having their jobs. Oh, I work for like police force. I was like, oh, is it busy? It's like, well, I just kind of have to follow this crazy fucking guy around who is like this arch nemesis.
Yeah.
No, I always love the fact that they are very much loyal to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're
No
just so
questions.
ready to
Yeah.
like be in with them on this journey because it's so fun.
Because I love it in the opening where like, Lupin's about to steal the book
Yeah.
and he gets handcuffed and someone just shouts in Zenigata and there's just this pause and silence and then the door just busts open.
I loved that we talked about this scene because it was like the only clip I'd seen
Mm-hmm.
before we watched this movie, but like I end up rewatching it like 5 times after it happened because I love it. But like when they're in the desert and he says, "Well, we're gonna have to call him." Gets
Yeah.
the radio, hello, and then just it smash cuts.
It's
to the
what I love
helicopter.
watching it is you see the door kind of
I was-
about to open
This is
and
what I
then
was
he
about to
just
mention.
kicks it.
Yeah, it's opening and he's like, this isn't fast enough. Lupin!
And I love the full context of that scene though when you see that he gets out and is like approaching and it's just like a mechanical thing.
Yeah.
And they
But
all
he's-
just stop and then it's like dun 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 as the other police officers kind of like bump into him.
The first thing I thought was like, everyone exits this helicopter thing. Even the pilots, like, I gotta fucking see this shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, it takes a while. I know your headphones off, you're fucking everything. And then
They're
like,
loyal to Zenigata.
They
So
know
loyal.
the routine at this point, and
They
they
have-
are fully
they
dedicated
have
to
to
it.
be in like a 5-meter perimeter. around him at all
I want to be
times.
part of that team.
Because they know if they're not with him, he'll end up helping Lupin.
Exactly what happens.
Exactly what happens.
Yeah, and to be fair, they went along with it.
Yeah, they does. I love that they just end up getting help from Interpol at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and I love like the little ending, like right at the credits, just to like jump to this when like he's chasing like Lupin again, like in the boat, and then he just suddenly turns around and like they all
They
salute
also let them.
Yeah, for a second I was like,
Letitia.
does she have military status?
No, I think he's just like,
It's
you know,
respect.
being
Yeah.
respectful. Because
Everyone's really into her for some
she's
reason.
the reason that he helps them. Because
Yeah.
she asks him and he's like, oh fuck, yes.
She doesn't even like try and do that in like a Fujiko style. She just says please.
Yeah.
And then
oh.
like just sort of angel rays come down. And she's completely unaware of it, and everyone's just like, I will I will help you.
It's the reaction
die for
of
you.
I have pledged myself.
it's the reaction of like Lupin and not Zenigata, Goemon and Jigen.
Jigen, yeah. I loved that right after that, Lupin just goes, really?
Really? Yeah.
Like, even he didn't expect that.
One of my favorite little kind of bits of animation though is like at the end where, you know, Lupin's kind of coming down with the gravity thing, and it's like they're all watching from the window, and he's like, Lupin, he does it again, and they're just kind of slinking away, and he'll just turn around, and you just see Goemon throw a little thumbs up before they run away.
Now we have to capture you. See ya.
Because they just stand there and look at him, and Goemon's just like, and just run.
I love the little moments of comedy in this movie.
Yeah. It's great because, like I said, this could have gone horrifically wrong moving him into CG, but they made them so expressive and so within their character.
Because I think sometimes people just would go to like this style just because they feel like they should, and I feel like they use the style to work to their advantage, like throwing in little things that would be more difficult to animate. Like a little thumbs up goes a long way. It's hilarious. And it's just so clear.
One moment that stood out to me as well was like it's like I think the first scene with Fujiko when she's giving the book to them, and like she's about to sneak out, she winks to the camera.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I had to like rewind that for a second because I was like, did she just wink at the camera?
Yeah.
Because that's hilarious.
She also subtly sticks her tongue out when she's like leaving the room.
Yeah.
Because they're like, was it your intention to get to the treasure first? She just kind of sticks her tongue out, and I'm like, oh fuck. It's all these little things.
Yeah.
It's the small things that really you notice them and you're like, this just works. It works well.
It adds so much character.
Yeah.
And it's not because it goes to show that like they didn't just do this for the sake of doing it. Like they wanted to bring this to that realm and kind of use everything it had to offer. Like the car chase at the beginning of the movie looks fucking fantastic.
Oh, I love that.
And like I love the car chase at the beginning of Castle of Cagliostro, but like that's how you want to see a car chase like that, you know.
It's fast paced, the camera's rotating around.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing, the movie knows how to use the camera, because like there's a lot of anime use CG. They'll move into CG, you know, like what Ghost in the Shell did, and they'll just start moving the camera, and you're like, oh god, please slow down, I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah.
But this, it's like it knew how to work a camera as if it was just a cinematic camera.
Yeah.
Like there's
Very
tons of
dynamic.
little zooms out or zoom in, or you know, it doesn't. It's dynamic, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, not too much.
Yeah. There was something else I was gonna bring up, and I've totally forgot what it was. Have we mentioned Hitler yet?
No.
We've gone this far without mentioning Hitler. So Hitler.
Hitler.
Let's talk Hitler.
Actually, before we talk about Hitler, there was one other scene, and it's when they're doing the trials to get to the.
Love a movie that ends like that.
Yeah.
Like their final thing is like a trial based on
It
that.
felt
it works.
Very, along with the Nazis as well, it felt very Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And I love when they get to the tunnel, and that is how you use Lupin's theme.
Yes.
Because this is also, I think, the best rendition of this theme. Because it is just so over the top.
Yeah.
And you got all the little, like, chimes and stuff going on.
They went all out.
They went
on all
all
the
out,
flair,
yeah.
and I loved it.
I just love that moment because you get to see.
The tunnel thing is amazingly done. I think, legit, I just sat there, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Like, they could just had a really cool montage of him dodging everything and running through it, but no, they're like, fuck it, why would he?
Yeah. He also kind of turns into Spider-Man for a second.
Yeah, like he's going all around. He's like almost flying.
Yeah.
Away, and then he grabs like the cane and puts the hat on, and I legitimately went, "Fuck you."
Yeah. So Hitler.
Hitler.
Huh.
Can we gotta stop bringing him up like this.
We gotta stop bringing him up.
It's not really Hitler.
It's not really Hitler.
Yeah.
Hitler has come up in 2 Lupin movies now. It's not many.
If I had a
But it's
nickel
weird
for
that it's
every time Hitler was mentioned in a Lupin movie, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's fucking weird. that it
Yeah.
happened twice.
At least no one threw out a Nazi salute.
Yeah, it
Like,
wasn't.
that's improvement.
Yeah.
It wasn't like strangely pro Hitler, which it
No.
wasn't really in Mama, but like.
They were just kind of like, he's there. We're not saying it's bad that it's here.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, can we?
History's
I think the whole kind of like
geniuses.
Nazi thing is very subtle. But then that also comes to my issue with one casting issue, and it's Letitia's granddad.
Not granddad.
Air
Fake,
quotes. Fake
yeah.
granddad.
Yeah. Adopted granddad.
He's meant to be German.
He's not.
He's
though.
very American.
Yes.
Which is, it becomes even more apparent when you've got the very German
Very-
Nazi
Yeah.
that he's working with.
It took me a while to figure out German because I think it was the first 2 lines the guy had. What's his name again? Gerald?
Gerard. It says
Gerard?
Gerard in the credits,
I
but
kept
he's
wanting to
very
say
much saying Geralt.
Yeah,
to
I kept
me.
wanting to say Geralt, but I was like,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound
Like,
right.
I think his first 2 lines were just pronounced in a bit of a French, and it was like,
Yeah.
how dare you!
It took me a while to kind of figure out
yeah.
a couple of the characters' accents, like Gerard,
Mhm.
and then the kind of tall, buff,
Yeah.
blonde beard dude.
Mm.
His accent changed like every time he
Hans.
spoke.
Yeah.
Hans, yeah.
Yeah.
Because of course he's Hans.
course.
Is this the second Hans that's turned up in a Lupin movie?
Probably.
Yeah.
If I had a nickel.
Because wasn't the guy in Cagliostro called Hans?
I want.
Oh.
It's something similar at the very least.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the one that had the Schwarzenegger
No,
voice.
it was Gustav.
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 Not similar to Hans whatsoever.
No, but I get
The
what you
vibe is
mean.
there.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, some accents were weird to point out, but as soon as I hear German and it's like 56s, I'm like, I know exactly where this is fucking going.
I know what you are, you fuck.
The Führer.
Which they say that exactly like that, like
Yeah.
5 times in this movie.
It's the only time that Letitia's not granddad becomes German is when he's like, the Führer? And it's like,
Führer.
huh? Why are you talking like that?
Every time that happened, I kept thinking of that. It's like the Helsinger Bridge clip that like
Oh,
was at
yeah.
one point where it's like, "V?"
Wie? Ah, Nazis?
The way he says that, like he's shocked to find out too.
Und wie?
Achoo!
Gesundheit. Gesundheit.
We gotta show you that clip.
Ah, we
Yes.
got.
'Cause I don't think we have, so that's come out completely out of context for you. Sorry, Melina.
If anyone is
German.
listening to this and has no idea what we're talking about, go watch Helsinger Bridge. It's funny.
I haven't seen the full thing, but like, just try and find that clip. It's funny.
How could this get any worse? Nazis.
What if they were Nazis? That would be word I don't want to say. Cut to like base. V?
Nazis? I feel like we might get in trouble for this
Oh,
episode.
God.
We need to put like a very like content warning at the beginning of this
Yeah.
one.
We say we are Nazis. We are not.
We're not,
We're
no.
joking.
We're very not.
It's,
We're
it's a funny
imitating.
joke, please. But so yeah, Hitler technically doesn't make an appearance.
No,
like,
'cause
I
it's
feel like
Lupin.
disguise.
It needs
Yeah.
to be explained. Like there was a faked picture of
Yes,
Hitler
yeah.
to make Nazis believe he was alive. It was a faked picture.
Yeah.
That sort
And-
of does come out of nowhere, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I feel like the reasoning behind that is so dumb. They're like, oh, they
Yeah.
put this picture out to see if they got any response from anywhere in the world, and I'm like, okay.
Everyone's gonna respond. Like
Yeah.
everyone.
That's
If-
not going to narrow it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if anywhere, like, even now or before, any year, there was a picture of Hitler coming, everyone would know. Everyone
Yeah.
would know.
And it's not like, a research group, which Anna Nerba is, would suddenly just be like, world domination, back at it
Yes.
again.
I have seen a picture. we talked about it today, and we were like, a picture can be very
Yeah.
easily fabricated. They
Looks
just-
like genocide's
But I
back on
suppose
the
this
menu,
was
boys.
the late 50s, 60s, so,
Yeah.
slightly
I love it.
less chance of it being faked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just love that. How would he get the picture? Was it mailed to him?
Yeah, that's what I
By
was
post?
wondering as well.
And he just opened the mail. Oh, my Fuller.
He was very attached to it as well.
I
Yeah.
love like the fake picture as well because Hitler looks like he's like to the camera.
looks-
He's
so
extremely
angry.
pissed off, yeah.
Which, to be fair, it's Hitler.
Yeah.
But
I think the reveal worked well. Having Lupin just take the
Yeah.
mask off. I was Hitler.
Yeah.
yeah, because like they set up at the beginning of the movie because
Yeah.
that's how we first meet Lupin in this
Yeah.
movie. He's disguised as the police officer, which
And that's how you do a callback.
yeah,
Yep.
I loved that whole sequence because like I didn't think of it at first, but then when it's like I'll take the thing, I was like, oh my god, it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my boy.
I was like, Hitler's looking particularly animated today, like physically,
It was
moving
when,
very
yeah.
weirdly and
It was when he
fluffy.
smiled at Letitia. I was like, oh yeah, this is Lupin. Yeah.
I'll be honest, the thought of him being in disguise sort of came up to me the moment like the radio came in, like, oh, this has to be like a trap or something
Yeah.
for him. And then when we got to him, I was like, oh shit, that's actually him. And then I remembered, oh wait, there's a disguise that went on earlier in the film. They could call back to that.
The whole eclipse thing.
Yeah.
It's like something straight out of Final Fantasy.
I love that they threw all like reality out the window. They're like, secret power, alien technology. I'm like, oh, okay, we're just accepting aliens for one.
Yeah.
When I said earlier that this movie felt very Indiana Jones, I mean that in multiple ways.
Yeah.
It's like
suddenly we're watching.
It went from
is it Crystal Skull?
Yeah, it went from Last Crusade, which is when like the Nazis forced them to like grab like an ancient artifact, but then it suddenly went right into Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Which is where the aliens show up.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also where Shia LaBeouf was in it.
We don't talk
about that.
Talk about it for another episode, obviously, but I kind of liked Crystal Skull, I'll be honest.
I don't mind Crystal Skull either, to be honest.
Temple of Doom is the bad movie.
I haven't seen it in a long time,
It's
so I can't really
painful.
comment.
We're not talking about this now.
Yeah,
but
no.
I had to get that out there.
Very fun, yeah.
Yeah. The whole creating black holes. I'm like, I don't know how this works. Maybe this could work like this, but I don't know.
I love how like one thing happened and Gerard is just like, it creates miniature black holes, and it's like,
How the fuck do you know?
What?
Yeah, my first question was, do you know what a black hole is at this point in time?
Yeah, he just looks like at the chaos that's created. I'm like, no, that could be a bomb. Like, it would look the same.
Yeah.
The end result would look the same.
They do bring up that it's like, oh, could be more powerful than the bombs on Hiroshima and stuff, which makes sense because World War II.
Yeah.
But then they say black hole generator.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're suddenly like a couple decades ahead in terms of knowledge now.
Like, I know it's meant to be alien technology, but do you know what a black hole is at this point?
Yeah.
Because they started
Hawking.
They started by kind of talking about it. It's like an infinite energy source.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, some nuclear whatever. That's cool. And I was like, it creates black holes. I'm like, I don't know if you have the technology to turn that into energy.
It goes through a weird, like, Letitia describes it as a source of infinite energy, and then when the non-granddad, what was his name?
I don't
Grandfather.
Grandpapa.
When he gets his hands on it, he's like, it's a weapon. It's
Yeah.
like, okay.
I mean, I guess infinite energy weapon.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then suddenly, miniature black holes, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I thought back to him, like, black holes, I mean, energy, yeah, but how would you harness a black hole creator to create energy?
I also don't think they just disappear like a bomb when you detonate it. It would stick around.
It's more like just sort of an implosion gun.
Yeah.
Than like a black hole generator.
Mm-hmm.
Wormhole generator that then closes it up.
I
guess.
A black hole.
Yeah.
Maybe just use black hole to simplify everything.
Yeah. A lot of similar vibes to Cagliostro in this one.
Yeah,
I'd
like
say
even
so.
in terms of like Lupin's character, because I know he's in the like usually more. I don't want to say similar to his Mystery of Mamo self, but
yeah,
there's a touch more than like the heroic thief that he was in Cagliostro.
Yeah,
kind of was in this one.
I'd say his Mystery of Mamo like character maybe dialed down a touch for how he normally is, because Mystery of Mamo tried to be very similar to the manga, which is dialed up compared to the anime. Hopefully not as much sexual harassment.
Yeah, this one was better because I was kind of scared seeing Letitia. I was like, she looks very young. Please, for the love of God, can we treat her like maybe a normal human fucking being? And he was actually nice,
Yeah.
There's like
emailed her thesis.
He doesn't
to
treat
the
her like
university.
Clarice, which is nice.
There's only like one scene when like he's in her like apartment that like he sort of goes into that, but they play it. He very much plays it like as a non-serious sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there's no actual harassment or
Yeah.
maliciousness there.
Because when she's like, I'm gonna go get changed, she's like, no looking. He just kind of laughs, and I was like, okay, thank God it's not this one.
Like the Mystery of Mamo Lupin would have just like immediately tried to, whereas he was just
He
like,
would
what
have
do you
followed
take me
her
for?
and stalked
Yeah.
her to wherever she was going.
But this
he'd
one
have
was
crawled
like,
out of the shower.
yeah.
But this guy, this like Lupin was like, what kind of thief do you take me for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm better than that.
He's a thief with standards.
Yeah.
It's just not cause, like he did so many nice things for Letitia. Like he legit wanted to help her.
Yeah.
Kind of at some point. And again, like her big thing was she wanted to go to Boston University, and her grandpa was gonna pay for it. But psych, bitch.
You ain't getting shit.
Yeah, and then for, Lupin to help her out. Aww.
Yeah.
Aww.
I got all
It's
the
so
warm
sweet.
fuzzies.
Is
Yeah.
Boston University that great a uni?
I mean, they have Harvard.
Is
I
that
don't
where
know.
I mean, there's
Harvard is?
MIT, isn't
Is
there?
that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
both, but they
I-
don't.
I-
Harvard would have existed at this time.
Ah.
It's weird to me they're not saying.
That's what confused
Harvard.
me. Yeah, you either say MIT or Harvard. That's
Yeah.
usually what I think of.
Then
Not
again, I don't think MIT is
Boston.
like archaeology anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean.
It could be that technically Boston University, like that's the name of a university that specializes in.
Archaeology.
For all
I
yeah,
fucking
so it
know
could be
how.
that.
Maybe. I keep forgetting Harvard is in
Yeah.
Boston, to be honest.
I keep thinking Harvard is just in like this roundabout area on the East Coast. I never give it like a specific location.
The
in
weird
my
thing
head.
is, like, Harvard is such a English-sounding university
it
It is.
encompasses all.
that that I just always like. There's part of my brain, or an irrational corner that's like, it's in England. What the fuck are you on about? And I'm like, it's not.
Yeah.
The only reason I know it's American is because for some reason like we were taught about like Harvard in like a history class once.
Oh,
And I
okay.
just know that like, oh, a bunch of these presidents went to Harvard, and I was like, that's the only thing that makes me remember that it's American.
You know, I was watching a YouTube video. Sorry, this is a tangent. I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and it was talking about like headlines that turned out to be true, or weird headlines, dumb headlines. I can't remember what it was.
This is the. Did you send?
I
this
think I
video?
sent it to
Okay,
you. Yeah, it was like World Bank says poor need money. It's like,
Yeah.
but one of them was something about like a school in the UK that it was like Eton but for girls, and I was like, oh yeah, Eton's still like a full
Yeah,
boys
it's
school,
It's a boys' club, isn't it?
and I'm like,
yeah.
single gender schools are like such an odd
Yeah.
thing in the modern day.
It is. We don't do that. We don't.
I don't think we do it very
No,
often.
it's definitely
It's a rich people thing. For
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
rich
Yeah.
people thing
definitely
here.
gone down in recent years.
Yeah.
But
I just find it an odd thing because then like you go through like however many years of schooling, and you leave school at 18 and down in England,
You've never talked to
and
a
you've
girl.
never spoken to someone of the other. You don't know how to interact
like,
with anyone
like,
from the
I
other
think
gender.
that's the problem, that you don't know how to interact with them.
yeah.
Like if I went to an all-girls school, I'd feel weird interacting.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I didn't grow up around boys,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I don't know how to act, what the dynamics are.
I
Like,
think that's why politics is so fucked here, because most of them go to like those
Yeah.
schools. Not to sorry,
Oh,
I don't want to go
God,
into this
yeah.
It's a
tangent right now.
Like, yeah, we should probably stop there.
Getting
No.
back to Lupin, do we have anything else to say?
overall, good. I like the book thing. It was very interesting.
One thing I wanted to bring up, they make a point that like when they're unlocking the book and stuff, which is a great sequence by
Yeah.
the way,
Oh,
with like the
amazing,
bombs
yeah.
and stuff. He says like, oh, 8-letter word from 5 letters. And like he said, the moment he said all the letters, I was like, oh, it's Letitia.
Yeah.
Like it's clearly Letitia, but they make a point to keep that a mystery. Like I'll tell you later, and I'm like,
I would be so nosy. I'm like, no, the fuck you're not.
yeah, I was
What the
like,
fuck is it?
no, I was just screaming, why are you keeping this a secret? It's
Yeah.
fucking Letitia. We
Yeah.
know. The previous scene was you telling us about how all that
All the
girls-
women in the family call Letitia.
Yeah,
it
there's
is
the
so
fucking-
confusing.
fucking Princess Zelda syndrome.
Yeah.
But then she also doesn't know she's Bresson's granddaughter at that
Yeah,
point.
I know,
Which
but
is-
still.
So he's waiting for like the right moment, I think,
Yeah.
because you don't want to just drop this like totally life-changing bit of information.
I guess in universe it does make sense, but
Yeah.
just from like a viewer's perspective,
Yeah.
like thematically, it's just weird to keep it a secret when
Yeah.
it's very clearly
Mm-hmm.
an obvious answer.
Also, I love how during that conversation, it just like there's one quick pan away, and you see that everyone's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zenigata's just kind of staring at a pillar as well.
Like in the base they have, the doors are so thin. It happens twice, doesn't it? That people are like, okay, come out from behind the door. I
Yeah.
can hear everything. I'm
Yeah.
like,
But they're like
Surely you
steel
have-
bulkheads.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you hearing through that?
I was expecting like when it was like all of them outside like that room and that scene, like the Grandi's just got like the cup to
Yeah.
the door.
classic. I don't know. I feel like I was slightly disappointed by Letitia being the answer. I don't know.
Mm.
Like it kind of was too easy to me.
Yeah, but then like they didn't have very long.
No.
Yeah.
There was like a minute on the clock.
Yeah. Which I love that she first of all, turned the key. Lupin was like, well, once the key started, the timer's going to go off. She's like, Floom.
I mean,
he just told you.
No, he doesn't tell her about the timer going off.
He told her there was bombs, and she was like, click.
No, he tells her that if someone puts in the wrong password, then it'll get lit on fire. He doesn't know about the bombs until.
Does she touch it?
It's still stupid that she just immediately goes in and then she like goes to Lupin like, well, you should have led with that, and I was just screaming, no, you should have just put the fucking key in.
Who gets told, oh, if we fuck this up, we're gonna set the book on fire, and she's just like, oh, I'm gonna touch it.
We're gonna try.
Yeah.
Like, aren't you an archaeologist? They're notoriously careful.
Yeah.
I have archaeology blood. Touch.
Yeah, well, your blood's about to be everywhere now.
It's in the blood.
It's in the blood.
I think it was very wholesome. Like,
starting to see how her actual granddad died.
I was honestly just very impressed, because to see, I'm assuming it was like their first attempt at Lupin in 3D
I
CG?
think so, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. And
especially for first attempt, you can tell they were very careful with it. Like, how can we harness this to be,
that's because
something we take to our advantage?
Yeah, I think that's because TMS didn't handle it in-house like they normally do.
We're just looking this up right now.
Animation was provided by Marza Animation Planet for the 3D stuff. So it was like planned out and, designed and written by TMS, the usual production company, and then it was handed off to...
You can feel that, because even if it's 3D, it still very much feels Lupin.
Yeah. So it was like, it was, directed by someone who obviously very much likes Lupin and the kind of usual current staff.
Yeah.
I don't know if like there's a revolving door of Lupin staff, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
From like just the opening like credits with like the way the theme was going and stuff, you could tell this was made by people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I'm glad Yuji Ono, the composer, was obviously still around, because he got to just go absolutely ham.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So I think that's, looking at the time. I think we're all right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think we'll close it here. We're kind of coming to the end of our thoughts.
Yeah. We said all we wanted to say.
Yeah. Very good movie. I enjoyed it just as much on the rewatch as well. It's always an interesting thing when you come back to watch something. It's like, will I enjoy this as much as I did the first time? With Lupin, I feel that's always going to be a resounding yes.
Wait, so for you, it was Lupin the first, the second
viewing. I kind of hope they do more 3D.
Yeah, I would like
I'd
to see this style come back.
I kind of hope they like stick with this, not universe, but like established version. So like the like the TV series kind of go through time. Like these movies could go through time as well. So it's like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
And maybe Letitia shows up again and she's in university, and we see how that's going.
With the way it ended, it feels like we could just have so many more adventures.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even have to be like super huge scale or anything. It would just be fun.
Yeah. So
all over the world.
All over the world. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to this episode of Anime Lane, where we talked about Mobile Suit Gundam 2, Soldiers of Sorrow. I hate saying the titles, they're so long! And Lupin III, the first. Yeah. Tune in next time, I guess. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.